Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. And this time we're taking a look at the 1999 Mazda Demio GLX. This is our second to last Demio that we have to cover. Of course the final one's going to be the mystical Mazda Speed Demio A-Spec, but this one is the standard GLX that you can buy from the new dealer. Normally I would buy this car in blue. There's a bit of a reference towards Gran Turismo 4. Of course, this is the first car that you drive if you do the license tests. But then I saw this came in this sort of grape purple, and I was like, that is the colour. That is what it has to come in. So, yeah, fantastic colour. Fantastic car, actually. I like the Demio. I've said this from the start. I like it. I think it looks quite cool. I've always sort of wanted one of these as a bit of a novelty. And on a whole, around this track, they do pretty well. They do better than you'd expect, considering these cars are quite often overlooked outside of the obvious sort of benefits with, you know, it being the first car that you drive in a license test. Beyond that, people will sort of forget about the Demio, so, which is a bit unfortunate. You know, I think this car's a bit of a Gran Turismo icon, and I think it should come back. But then again, I also think Gran Turismo 7 should do a lot of things it doesn't. Anyways, in terms of statistics, all Demios are almost the same barring one. So in this case, front engine, front wheel drive, 254 horsepower. This one is not running racing modification, so it sits at 883 kilos, which actually, as far as its power to weight ratio goes, isn't all that bad. Anyways, to find out how the Mazda Demio GLX 99 gets along, it is going to get 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak version, and that car's at a time of a 25.696. The Demio GLX is unlikely to beat that, obviously. Although I would totally be up for a Mazda Demio Pikes Peak version. Of course, in keeping with typical Demios, we have that sort of low down grumble that they make, as opposed to an actual proper engine though. I find it quite characterful, but it's definitely the quietest, I think, of all the cars that we would normally drive around here. Like I mentioned, Demios do pretty well in terms of lap time. The quickest Demio was the 97 GL. That's at a time of a 30.932, followed by the GLX Special, which set a time of a 30.999, and then I think the rest of them are sort of somewhere in that pack. The LXG package is slower because it is a 1.3 litre Demio, whereas all the rest of the Demios are the 1.5, so there you go. A bit of Demio lore that most people probably didn't even know is that yeah, there's 2 different engine options for your Demio in this game, 31.140, and interestingly only one of the Demios has it, which is bizarre because there is 3 GLXs in this game, well, and also a GL technically. What does GLX stand for? I don't know, really, to be honest. I always what would be cool is to have the European version of this vehicle in the game. For those of you who don't know, in Europe, I guess because they sort of looked at it and thought people would make fun of the way it looks, because it was a sort of slightly goofy looking tall wagon thing, which obviously before the event of tall goofy wagon looking things. And so they actually put, I think it was an off-road bull bar on the front, and they also put like a little rear reflector on it that sort of went the full length of the hatchback. In truth, Mazda was really beyond the times, and of course they were even more beyond the times because Demios are sort of known for being a bit, you know, beige to drive, and really most modern crossovers are also beige to drive, so yeah, and I'd still rather have a Demio because it's got more soul in one corner. I'm not just saying the 90s were better, I'm just saying I like the Demio. Do I like the Demio, or do I like the memories attached to the Demio? That's the real question here. Anyways, the sign of a good car is one that you can sort of consistently get better with, and aside from this last lap, That's sort of what happened, and it goes sort of roughly where I'd expect it to, really. Not as quick as the racing modified GLX Special or the GL, which you wouldn't really expect because they are slightly lighter and have the racing modification, but on a car like this, sort of front wheel drive, low power, you're not going to get all that much effect out of having the extra downforce from the race mod. It's going to be more about the weight savings. So, and for me, yeah, that makes sense. That is interesting, though. I was not expecting... Okay, there is a weird... I didn't mention it when we was going around, but there is sort of a weird dead point in the gear ratios. That sort of shift from right at the top into second to third. There's a bit of a lull in the power, and so sort of picking your shift point there is kind of critical, and I think I may have done a little bit better on that on some of the other laps. We don't often see a car where the quickest lap is one where not the best sector was set. I mean, there is time in it, obviously, hence why other Demios have been quicker, but to be honest with you, that sort of time makes sense to me, so I'm not going to lose sleep over that. A 31.015 will place this into 362nd place, goes in between the Nissan Skyline GTS 25 Type S and the Toyota Sleeker Rally Car. Yes, a Demio without race mod is quicker than a Sleeker Rally Car, and a Honda NSX, and a CLK 200 Sport, and a Nissan 180SX. So there you go. The choice is obvious, and I know which one I'd rather drive over a 4-speed automatic NSX and a CLK, I'll tell you that. In terms of things quicker than this, CRX Del Sol, Super RZ, and again, just sort of the racing mod Demios. It'll be interesting to see how quick the Mazda speed one is around here. In theory, I think that one's the lightest, and it is having racing mod, although the power is identical, so... you know, maybe we can expect a 38.8, a 30.8 of some description out of that, but I guess time will tell when that comes around. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I will be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.